Hi, I'm Wyatt Sharp in Ottawa today with Civics Canada as part of their 2023 Student Budget Consultation. Over the course of today, we've been meeting with various members of Parliament from various political parties to discuss and share with them the results of the 2023 Student Budget Consultations as a way to hopefully not only have their insight and input, but also to have the voices of students and the results of this survey shared with them to hopefully implement some of them into the upcoming federal budget. Nearly 3/4 of students said that they believe the government should invest more in mental health services. I'm just wondering what you think, based off of these results, the government could do to improve access to mental health for young people.
So in the last election, there was a promised mental health transfer of $4.5 billion. And the Liberal government did announce for the first time ever a mental health minister, Carolyn Bennett. However, we have it, which is great in terms of that saying we care about mental health. However, we still haven't seen a dime of that money transferred, and I'm not sure that we're going to. So we definitely need to see that delivered and see that $4.5 billion transferred for a Canada mental health transfer.
The COVID-19, the pandemic, took its toll on the mental health of Canadians, took its toll on the mental health of students. You had students who were used to being in a social environment, surrounded by their peers, their classmates, being at home. And for many students, that was not a good experience. And we've seen it through the numbers, through the statistics, through the demand for mental health services coming out of COVID, which we've seen increase across the board, not just for students, but for workers across the board. And our government is committed, and I think all Canadians are committed, to ensuring that people get the help they need for when they have issues with their mental health, which we know a lot of Canadians do.
We need to be ensuring we get resources to young people who need it for their mental health. The fact is, mental health is health. Any MP who says that, though, needs to back it up with ensuring there's money in the budget for it. We need to continue to press for the federal government not to walk back and pretend that that commitment never happened. We need to see at least $4.5 billion in the Canada Mental Health Transfer in Budget 2023.
The problem that we're facing right now in Canada, how to define mental health. I think that's very critical. That should be the starting point, because based on that, the budget has to come to address and to cover the many aspects of mental health that Canadians facing. And I believe the numbers that you see from the result of your poll from the students is correct. We need to look at it very seriously.
Practically 95% of students believe that Indigenous people should have the same access to things like education as regular non-Indigenous folks. I'm wondering, do you think the government has done that thus far, and what can the government do in something like a federal budget to do so?
And the first thing I'd like to say is the priorities of students are the priorities of Canadians. And on this one here that you've identified, this is a priority for Canadians, and it's a priority for our government in terms of our relationship with the Indigenous peoples across Canada. With regards to educational services, with regards to a standard of living, access to clean drinking water, our government since day one, since 2015, has committed and put in place the resources to close the gaps.
Look, as Conservatives, we think and I want to talk on the bigger picture of things, how we can not just partner but be true allies with the First Nations. Our leader, Pierre Poilievre, has been very clear that true reconciliation can come through economic reconciliation, and we need to achieve a certain amount of sovereignty can be achieved by that as well. And what we need to do is help to not only support our natural resources sector, but find ways to partner with First Nations so that they're able to get those resources to market and provide for the people that they represent.
What I would say is that this government, since it was elected, I was part of it since 2019, has put Indigenous reconciliation at the heart of what it does as a government, whether or not that's infrastructure investment, whether or not it's trying to create equity in social programming, make sure that there can be Indigenous-led health initiatives.
I would say, some of my observations would be, in our area, we're seeing how, homelessness is increasing, and many of these folks are Indigenous folks. We're seeing how addiction is increasing, how mental health concerns are increasing. Again, many of these folks are Indigenous. We're also seeing where, yes, to your point, many of those individuals are also, not able to access adequate education. And so these are big questions. They're big concerns that we have, in government, but I think as a society, we have these questions. And these are the questions that any government of the day has to wrestle with. Again, what is that balance between, what responsibility is the government going to take versus what responsibility is the government going to expect people to take for themselves?